Hi, Georgetown. My name's Trinity, and I'm a freshman in the MSB, and this is my roommate.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm also a freshman, but I'm in the college majoring in theology.
So we just wanted to make this video because we know that it can be pretty nerve-wracking picking a roommate and kind of going through that process. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about what our experience was like and some tips that we have for people who are coming into Georgetown or even any other school and trying to find out who they want to room with.
So, our roommate story is actually a little bit more unconventional than the traditional Georgetown one. So, we actually had a Georgetown girls group chat, and someone in the group chat decided to make a spreadsheet on which we could all list all of our living preferences, just things like what time do you go to bed, what time do you wake up, what temperature do you like the room, do you listen to music with headphones, are you okay with having friends over, all of those things. So Trinity and I both filled it out. It also had contact information so you could contact people who had similar interests or preferences to you. And one day, Trinity texted me out of the blue and just said, hey, it looks like we have a lot of similar preferences. Maybe we should chat about possibly being roommates. Mm-hmm. And then we just kind of talked for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, we stalked each other on social media, like everything.
And I don't know, we just kind of clicked immediately. And about 3 days later, Trinity was like, okay, so do you want to be roommates? And
yeah,
there we are. Now we've had a great year.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a lot of options concerning like picking your roommate. Ours, like we said, was kind of a little more unconventional, more random, but there's also people also find roommates on Facebook, Instagram, and then there's also a system called Charms that Georgetown releases. That's like a roommate matching system.
It's like online dating.
It's
for
like
roommates.
basically that's what it is. But a lot of people we both know have randomly been assigned their roommates through that or have picked roommates on Charms, and they also like it. So it kind of just depends on your preference and if you find a roommate before or after Charms, whatever you want to do. Alright, so our first tip concerning picking your roommate is to ask the hard questions early so you don't have to deal with the hard answers later. So oftentimes a lot of people kind of just go into this process thinking, oh my gosh, like I just want to make a friend, I want my roommate to be my best friend, and they're more so looking at their roommate's like personal characteristics rather than their living preferences. And they're not asking essential questions like, do you snore? What are your preferences? Like, when do you go to bed? Do you like to have guests over? These really important questions that really matter when you're actually living with someone versus just being someone's friend. So I definitely recommend asking the really tough questions, even if it's awkward sometimes, because you don't want to have to deal with a really horrible answer once you are already committed to that person.
Yeah, I think it's more important that you're able to live together than that you're best friends. So our second tip is to just be honest and know yourself and be transparent when you're answering those hard questions that we just talked about. So even if you think that your answer to the question might be something that your potential roommate might not like, you still need to be honest and open about it up front. Otherwise, it's only going to create problems later. If you know, for example, that you have a hard time waking up in the morning like I do, be honest about that up front. That's something you have to say early on in the process or it becomes a problem later on in the year, and that's just something that no one wants when you're trying to deal with academics and extracurriculars and other college things. You want the least of your concerns to be who you have to live with in your room. So just be super honest about your answers to the questions and like who you are as a person, and that also comes from knowing yourself and knowing these things about yourself so that you don't run into problems.
And one recommendation I have for this is maybe ask your family members or whoever you live with now what it's like to live with you, just to kind of give yourself an idea, a more like transparent, honest idea than maybe like the opinion that you already have of yourself. But that can just kind of give you some insight from an outsider of what it's like to live with you. So our third tip is to just make sure that you know what you want out of your roommate relationship before you go in. For some people, they're really looking for a good friend, and then for others, they're just looking for someone to room with. I kind of recommend somewhere in the middle. It's really great to be friends with your roommate, but at the end of the day, you are just rooming with them, and that needs to kind of just be a priority, or at least in our experience, that's been a priority. And then from that, we've been able to become friends. So I would just say my recommendation is to kind of shift your perspective from looking for a friend that can also be a roommate to looking for a roommate who can also be a friend.
Yes.
So.
So our fourth and final tip is to not be afraid to reach out to people. I know this was a problem for me because I was just scared to be the first person to text someone, and it's kind of scary because you just don't know who this person is, and you just text them and say, hey, let's talk. Maybe we could room together for a whole year. That's scary. But don't be afraid to do that, because if Trinity had never reached out to me, we wouldn't be roommates now, and we wouldn't be rooming together again next year. And so I'm really glad that Trinity reached out to me, but also just let that serve as a lesson to you that sometimes you might have to be the one to take the first step, and just don't be afraid to do that, or you might miss out on something really amazing.
Yeah. And that's all we have for this video. Thanks for watching.